All right, welcome back to the podcast. Welcome back to Tomboy Official. I'm going down my list of topics to post on. I don't even know. I'm just like, stick to the list. Just post based on what you wrote on the freaking list. So let's get into it, I guess. Like, this topic is about nudes. So, for people who don't know what nudes are, I don't know how people might not know, but basically, people share all kinds of pictures and videos with people, and, nudes are generally something that's just some form of nudity in a photo that somebody sends, usually photo, usually consensually sends. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes people just send them by accident or, but I don't really know what to say too much about it. I don't have too many opinions about nudes. I mean, the topic kind of came up because Mac and Jimmy posted about accidentally sending nudes, or a nude to somebody, because of something a picture that they shared that had like a reflection while they were in the bathtub, and they were sending a picture, and it ended up being like, because I guess they were taking a bubble bath and ended up taking a picture that they thought was going to be like towards their feet to show the bubbles. And that it has, like, how it has the chrome, like metal pieces, for like the drain and the faucet and everything. And I guess those were very reflective enough that it showed, a reflection of Mac and Jimmy in the reflection of the tub. So there was like the picture of the bubbles at Mac's feet, and then above that there was just a reflection of Mac taking the picture while not wearing clothes, and sent it to what is her now girlfriend. So I guess it can work, but I mean, I think it should go without saying that people should use caution, because who knows what people are gonna do with pictures. Some people are just wild out there and have like no sense, and might end up just in an angry moment, just in a form of harassment. I would call it harassment if somebody took somebody's nudes and posted them on the internet. But it's like, I'm sure people do that. I mean, it sounds like terrible, but I'm pretty sure people do that photos get leaked and stuff, or that people might just show them to other people. I know some people use Snapchat, some people use like other, I don't know. Okay, so this is something I'm trying to find out. If there's an app that deters you from screenshotting, or sending, like, so for example, on rare occasions, I'll watch, like, I can't remember the last thing I watched where this was happening. I think it was a concert online for New Year's Eve of, bringing in the 2021 New Year. And me and my friend had this concert online. It's like this rave we were watching online, separately in our separate houses, in our own separate bedrooms. And it gave you like a badge that you could take pictures and post that. I screenshotted the badge, I think, either downloaded it or screenshotted it, I can't remember. I don't know, screenshotted is that a word? I mean, I say it all the time, but I don't know if it's took a screenshot. You know what I mean? But I'm just gonna say screenshotted because it sounds weird, but it gets to the point. So that's what I did. And I noticed that, some of the rave, like with some of the DJs, you couldn't really take the photo. You couldn't screenshot it. It would show like the border of like maybe like your timestamp and like, the website link or whatever, but it wouldn't show the actual picture. And I think I also had tried to screen record, like, because you can screen record what you're doing on your actual phone. So I think I had tried to screen record and I wasn't able to do that. And I know Snapchat things disappear, but I think you can still screenshot. I don't recall. I haven't used Snapchat in I only have one person on Snapchat that I talked to, that I met at like somebody's birthday party, that was actually flirting with one of my friends, and we were gonna make plans to go to Six Flags or some random thing like that, and we never did. This was probably 5 years ago, and so I don't really use Snapchat. I have an account, but some of these accounts I just keep them in case I want to start using them again. But yeah, I know Snapchat has a little bit of some limitation with permanent photos, and I don't know if all dating apps do this, but I know the one that I'm on, usually you can't really, you can screenshot it, but it'll give you a warning and hey, it's an app where, for privacy reasons, you're not allowed to do that. And so I don't know what happens if you keep doing it. They'll probably ban you. But before, you used to be able to screenshot, but I think you can't anymore because it's they probably don't want people taking screenshots of other people and then being like, hey, look which gay person I found online kind of thing, and just sharing it with the world, outing people. I'm assuming that's why they made it like that. Because I know before you used to be able to screenshot, and but now I don't think you can. So, but I mean, you can, but it'll give you a warning. And I mean, I'm not saying people post nudes on their, people post some pretty not fully clothed photos on those apps sometimes. I'm not complaining, but basically, yeah, I'm just kind of wondering if there's a site where people can take photos, upload photos, and then nobody can screenshot them or screen capture them, and you would have full control over sending only a link, but people couldn't screenshot it or send it to anybody else. I don't know if that exists. But I don't know. There's got to be a way where people can send things safely. I just don't know what it is. But it would be nice if something like that did exist. I mean, I've sent nudes to people. I don't really care. It's not a big deal to me. I mean, I don't send them to everybody. I think the only thing I would really worry about is if I accidentally sent it to the wrong person. That is something that would sound like something I might likely do, is send the wrong picture to the wrong person. But I don't think anybody who knows me would be surprised if they accidentally got a nude from me. They'd probably be like, what are you doing? But I wouldn't, I'm not actively interested in sending them to other people, everybody. But I don't know, I don't really mind sending them, depending on there has to be a certain situation for it. It's not oh, we just met the other day and here's a nude, it's usually I don't think I've ever really sent them to people I don't know. It's usually people I've known for a long time, that just comes up, you know, like every so often it's like, this is where this conversation's going, you know? And like, I'm not like opposed to it. It doesn't really negatively impact me at all, I don't think. But yeah, I don't really post them all over the internet or anything like that. I wouldn't think that would be a wise idea. But yeah, I mean, I don't really think it's a big deal. Just, you know, there is harassment and abuse and manipulation. You know, people just, you know, some people just cannot be trusted. I don't know how else to say it, unfortunately. Like, everyone's gonna have their faults, myself included, but I don't think everybody has to have that kind of access to people. Like, it is kind of risky. But because I mean, even if they accidentally sent it to somebody, like, what if they accidentally send it? You know, it's kind of like, you know, you gotta, sometimes you won't have control over, you know, once you send it, it's fully in someone else's hands. Even if, you know, they're a trusted person, it could go wrong. And that's not really the kind of stuff you want just like out there, you know. It could affect you as far as like, you know, professional opportunities and things. I know, like, I don't know if this is like an ongoing joke, but I think it's kind of like an ongoing joke in a lot of lesbian podcasts, how they joke about Wiki feet, how there's, I don't know if it's like a foot fetish thing or what. I don't know. I don't really understand the actual like details of the site, but there's a site called Wiki Feet that there are certain YouTubers that, you know, people, fans or whatever you want to call them, people who view their content, find times when, you know, on YouTube or online somewhere or at the beach where people are posting like selfies and all kinds of stuff, wherever they might be, when there's like, they have their feet just like out, and then, you know, people will take pictures of their feet and post it on Wiki Feet with their profile. So it's basically other people making profiles for certain like online creators that they see their feet and then they post feet pictures. I don't really know what to say about that, but I heard about it from Brianne Williamson and then Ashley Gavin. They were saying that like they found out that they had Wiki Feet pages because, you know, sometimes they're like sitting on the couch and they have like sandals on, or like, you know, they're like, they sit around in apartments and hotels and stuff, like recording their podcast, and so they're not like wearing sneakers and boots or whatever. Like they're indoors in their own houses sometimes, or they're like out doing something where they post pictures on Instagram or wherever the heck, and it happens to have them like with their feet, you know. I don't understand, like, but I would just I don't know. Like, it's just funny because, like, I've heard a lot of lesbian creators say that kind of stuff. And then, like, I don't knock it. I don't care if people have foot fetishes or whatever. But it's just weird to me that it's weird to me that people are starting profiles for others. And so I thought nothing of this. I was like, whatever. I thought nothing of this. I was just kind of like, okay, like, that's interesting. That people make these, it's almost like how people have like an IMDb profile of all the stuff they've done, but then it's like, instead it's like feet pictures. But then I was watching you know, I like this side hustle YouTuber named Biaheza that I've been following his content for like years, and he basically I can't remember what video. It was one of the most recent, within the last recent 2 videos or so. I saw he was posting, and he does like some, some B-roll, and like you see him kind of like typing, and then like the camera zoomed out, positioned over here from like, so there was like a shot where he was typing. It kind of shows him clicking around on the screen, zooms in on the screen. I don't know the order of like the sequence of things, but like it goes back, so like the camera was like behind him. So when you're like sitting at a desk, and like if you could see like the full body of a person sitting at a desk, where you're like at your chair, and then it shows like the back of your head, your back, it might show some of your hands, your arms typing at the keyboard, and then the monitor would be facing the camera, but then his legs were under the desk just like a normal person. And then like I saw the feet were like blurred out and like pixelated, and I'm not sure if that was his editing or someone else's editing, but I think people are starting to blur out their feet. I don't know if it was because he was like barefoot and just was blurring out his feet because he was like, some people don't like their feet. I don't really know, but I specifically noticed that. And then I was like, well, maybe in my head, I was like, well, maybe he's blurring it out because he doesn't want to end up on Wiki feet with like a profile of him working and having his feet or something. I don't know, dude. Like, I have no idea. But I don't know. I'm not knocking it. I think it's interesting that it's not the people creating the profiles for themselves, but it's other people who must watch them and must see their stuff and have an interest in feet to the point where they would take pictures and add it to a profile that either already exists or that they created. To me, that's like, there's like Wikipedia is the same. You can just make articles about whatever topic you know, and like the Wiki is kind of like that. Like you just kind of add your own stuff, but I don't really know what I think about that. I feel like it's kind of like innocent. That's probably about the limit that I think people can go. I don't know. To me, I think it's like, okay, it's kind of innocent. Because it's not like Wiki boobs or something. It's not like somebody's like taking like chest pictures or butt pictures. Maybe they do. I don't know if that exists, but I feel like that would be like, okay, that's maybe a little too much. But it's like, if somebody's taking pictures of hands or feet or elbows or hair or whatever, it's like, I feel like it's like, well, it's out anyways, like, I feel like it's weird, like, not that people like it, but it's weird that people make profiles for other people, because I don't think those people have access or power to take down the profile. I don't really know, but the reason why I went off on this Wiki feet tangent is because, it just shows that it does exist, that people are out there like taking photos of others without them really knowing, even though these creators are kind of posting their own content willingly. Just I don't know. Like, I think I don't even know if it's like a thing to talk about, to spread. Like, I feel like it's kind of like, okay, spread education about, the risks of sending nudes and the risks of, having other people, like, exposing you online, like, kind of in a harassment form. But then also, it's like, you can't really do anything about some of it. It's like, if somebody's gonna take pictures of you without you knowing it and post it on the internet, you're not really gonna know. Or like, even other stuff I've seen, like, not even, it has like nothing sexual to it, but it's like, I've seen people take videos where they just like cut, and they cut like so much of the video, and they just cut things together, and then it turns out to be like some completely edited version of something that, they're kind of like twisting the story. And a lot of times it looks fake, but sometimes they're really well made. So sometimes I've noticed, like, I can watch certain videos and I'll be like, wow, like this doesn't seem right. But I can't remember which one I recently watched where I was just like, that looks so real. Like I knew it was fake, like it looked fake enough, but it was like, because I knew the person, their message isn't really like that. They're not really like that. But there's like these kind of odd like forms of like bordering harassment. Like it's one thing, trolling is one thing, we all know about trolling, but it's like, I feel like this is like a new form. So when I hear about people having nudes, you know, I mean, it's not like it's a brand new thing, but I would just use caution as much as possible, because it's like, if people are really going out of their way to kind of have make content, they're basically making content out of other people's bodies, technically. Even if it's something as innocent as like feet, I think it's like still a lot to it's a lot to digest. But I don't know. I don't really know what I think. I mean, just I hope that there is some kind of app that people can use that's like more protected, so they have more control over who they send things to, who can send stuff that they've already sent. There's got to be something out there, but I don't really know what it is. But I would say if you're gonna send nudes in this day and age, that might be the route to take, would be to make sure you have the most protected version of what you're sending, so that other people can't send it and share it all over, or accidentally send it to some person, or accidentally get it posted somewhere else on the internet. Because once it's there, you can't really get rid of it fully. I've heard of people getting rid of things fully, but it seems like you can't. Like, I even think with like OnlyFans, I think even with OnlyFans you can screenshot stuff. I could be wrong about that. I haven't really been up on there in a long time, but I mean, it's, well, not a long time, probably like a few weeks, but I don't think I've ever screenshotted anything on there. But most sites you can just screenshot. It's not usually like an issue. And that can create an issue if somebody kind of has like negative intentions. So, you know, it's kind of, you know, it's funny to kind of just think about these topics, but then it can get to a level that's like, okay, like that's a little bit, you know, people can take it too far. Some people are stalkerish. Like, I listen to a lot of content creators, queer ones. I know Taco Tarantino seems to have a lot of complicated kind of interactions with either followers or just people out in society in general. And there are a couple others. I know like Arrows and Jade Fox both mentioned too that like sometimes, you know, people who consume their content can be a little overly like pushy on certain, like wanting to know certain information, or like bordering on harassment, or even being harassing. I remember Mac Ingemy, unfortunately, even posted, talked about not that long ago. It sounds like somebody was kind of like at like some kind of event, like a YouTube event or something, and kind of like grabbed her chest or something. It's like, what the fuck? Like, people, like, these are just like strangers to them, like, you know. And it's like, it's scary to think that like people with certain followings might have people that just naturally just have terrible boundaries. And you know, people can get obsessive and weird. And I mean, I've had friends that got pretty obsessive over like bands. Like, I don't mean like, yeah, you're a total fangirl kind of thing. I mean like yeah, like to a different level. And you know, but it's kind of different when everyone can kind of post their own stuff nowadays. I don't think it even matters if a person is a creator that's like a big creator or small creator. Like, if somebody's interested, they're going to be interested, and you don't know that person and their intentions. So I would just say, people, have caution out there. I think apps and, platforms need to have some kind of protective measure to them more so. I know they get more concerned, it seems like, of kids coming across certain type of content, but I think they need to start having more protection for creators. I even found with a client of mine, this has nothing to do with anything sexual, but it's like, I even found with a client of mine that, even filing a restraining order against someone who's actively harassing you, like, unless they're like beating you physically, or like, and recently physically causing you harm, or causing harm to your belongings, or unless you kind of have like a case of where you can file for disability and you can't advocate for yourself, usually you're only going to get either granted a temporary restraining order or a stay away order. It's hard to get a permanent restraining order. I don't know if it's just a Southern California thing or San Diego thing or whatever, but it's hard to get a permanent restraining order against someone who's maybe trolling you or email harassing you, or even calling your providers and trying to like access information to you about your health status and all this kind of stuff. I mean, there's privacy and confidentiality laws, but if someone has a stay away order, they're not supposed to make any efforts to contact you. And it sounds like, the only thing a person can do is, tell the court about it again and get legal representation and go after the person again. Like, it takes like maybe 2 court dates. Like, it takes the first one, you have to go first to the police station. I don't know the exact, don't take this for like the exact way to handle this, because everybody's case would be different. But in general, to get a restraining order, the person who wants the order has to go out of their way to file a police report, usually in person. So that's one trip to the police station. And usually you will get a temporary restraining order, and that lasts for a certain amount of time. And within that time period, you're supposed to complete a court date in person or online, where you have to be available for this court date, where the judge decides if they're going to grant you a permanent restraining order, which seems harder to get than a permanent stay away order. And then if the person again keeps violating any the forms of contact and makes any form of contact after this stay away order is in place, then the victim has to go back to schedule a court date to get this person in trouble. And so that's a lot of effort on the part of a person being harassed, in my opinion. And so it's like, just for something like that is already hard. Like, I've had another friend that had this was a client, but I've had a friend who had to get a restraining order too, and it sounded like it took a couple tries until the person got temporarily jailed, because then they were out again. And so it's just like stuff like that, where it's like, it's not that easy. The law is not always too protective. And if you think about when it's not even just something just as obvious as like harassing, something that we would all be like, yeah, clearly this person is like harassing you. You told them to stay away, and now they're sending you emails, like abusive emails, like berating you and cursing you out and stuff like that. That's harassment. But it's like, to get that taken care of, you can't really easily get that taken care of in like a day or two. Like, it takes multiple tries. And then, I mean, I even almost think, I mean, it's kind of my opinion, but I almost think that it's a form of what do you call it? It's a form of harassment when when you get spam mail, when you've like unsubscribed from things, and then they're like, or even like when you get those spam texts, and then it's like type stop for them to like stop, and then they send you one more effing thing that's like, this is just to confirm that, like, we'll stop sending you these things within like 7 to 14 business days or whatever. It's like already, like, if somebody said that, if you're like, don't ever contact me again or something, like, if I were to say that to somebody, I wouldn't expect another message, and I wouldn't expect for them to be able to send me messages for 7 to 14 more days. It's like, stop means stop, it's like, but I think there's too much leniency on that. The law isn't really protective of victims too much when it comes to online stuff. And so I don't really even know what it would look like, but I could foresee that if somebody does get harassed, unfortunately, online, I mean, it's already hard enough to take care of harassment in person. So to take care of like internet harassment, as well as having it being like, if you're a creator and it's some person that can just create however many profiles they want to create and just keep going, or if it's something along those lines, I feel like it's really kind of scary to think that, I mean, I don't want to be all like negative, but it's like, it's kind of like, it goes from like a funny kind of lighthearted topic of, haha, I'm gonna send this person nudes because I think, this is a fun flirty thing, and then all of a sudden, like, you never know. And so it's best to kind of stay on the cautious side. I would say it's probably not the best idea to be sending nudes to people, but if they are gonna get sent, it has to be, in a way where there's limited risk. Don't send them while you're drinking or high or stoned or whatever. I have learned that it is not a good idea to text people when I'm drunk. Whatever I think I'm texting always seems like it's amazing, and then when I go back and read it, I'm like, oh shit, that was dumb. And usually it's sent to like some random ass person that like I mean, I don't do this anymore, but I used to. I would get like I would kind of like go out late and then come home and still have all this like energy, and I'd just be like, well, I'm just gonna like text my friends, and like, most of my friends, they get drunk texts from me, or like they know, they're like, like, you're just sending me like a drunk text. But then on occasion it'll be like, oh, I haven't talked to this person in like 3 years, like, let me send them like a text. It's like my brain isn't like in a place that's like normal. I'm just like happy and social and just being like, hey, like, I just went out, and like, but I don't know, I have some friends that appreciate that too, so it's kind of funny. So I have a friend that specifically I drunk text her when I do get drunk, and I do want to drunk text somebody. She's the one who gets the drunk text because she understands and she appreciates them, and also it gives me the opportunity to still be able to do it without sending it to people where it's going to be maybe a little awkward. I've sent the wrong text to the wrong people, but yeah, just, try not to be too messy. Like, I don't really do that anymore. Like that's why I don't really like drinking, because I just don't really have good judgment. And then like my energy is already hard enough to kind of keep very balanced in the first place, and so it just screws up my next day. And so it's not that I've stopped drinking, I just don't really care for it like I used to. Like, it's not like important to me, but I mean, I'll do it on occasion, but I'm not really like too into it when I know I have stuff that I'm trying to do. Like, when I know I'm gonna have some extra lazy days, that's different. But when I actually have stuff I'm trying to like focus on, then I try not to really be drinking anymore. But I definitely had my drinking times where, you know, it was kind of like go all out, but it was fun, you know. But yeah, I just yeah, just people gotta be careful out there. Like, it's not easy to live in this day and age where there's just so much going on. I mean, I feel for people who get harassed by others and have to interact with some ill people that, not even like, you know, hip hop New York, like cool ill. I mean, like ill, like not good. Like, people having some emotional, mental kind of situations where they're not really capable or aware of poor boundaries, you know, or able to keep good boundaries and be respectful, and just people trying to take advantage of others and stuff like that. It's just like, you know, people are kind of getting a little wilder out there, and I do think that maybe people should, you know, app companies, software companies, privacy companies, or like security companies should start looking into more restrictive types of sharing for that reason. Just because it's like I know it takes away some freedom from some other people who want to do creative stuff. Like, I screenshot stuff all the time. Like, I don't do anything like evil with it, but it's like I'll screenshot stuff that I like. I'm not very savvy with Instagram, and, you know, I've noticed like sometimes when people post something on their story, you can't really get it back again. Like, it's just like, I guess, for the day or whatever. I don't really understand how Instagram stories really fully work, but they seem like they're pretty temporary. And so sometimes when I see one that I like, I'll go and like screen capture it, because I think it's funny or whatever. But I'm not like taking these screen captures and like going and like doing something weird with it. But it's like it'll be for like something like snowboarding, if I see somebody do some kind of interesting maneuver, or like dancing, like stuff like that, where it's just like, okay, that was kind of something that I liked the style of that, and I'll just kind of like, you know, so I'll have it. It's kind of more like athletic type stuff like that. But I'm not like doing it to like try to make some weird like pervy video and like post a whole other thing about it or whatever. It's just something that I like to have, because I don't know how to get back to it. Like, I've seen stuff that people post on their stories, and then I'm like, wait, like, where is it? So or I've done it with some of the people that I follow who speak Spanish. Like, I'll screen record it so I can go back and like learn some of the what they were saying, because there's some people that I follow that are like models that, you know, I just like their style, and like I, you know, every now and then they actually post something that's like verbal, but I can't my Spanish isn't good enough to just like listen to it once and then just like, oh yeah, I know exactly everything. Like, I have to kind of have like pause it and make sure I understand and like translate it little by little. And then there's usually like a couple words that I don't remember anymore in Spanish, and I'll go look them up. And so I'll screen record for that reason. But otherwise, I'm not trying to like do anything like to harass people. It's just for my own, to keep my own stuff or whatever. Like, I'm not really like trying to be like a jerk or whatever. But yeah, I I've been having some just kind of that was kind of like my thoughts on things for today. Just people be careful out there. I really do hope that security measures do kind of crack down a little bit on some of these people who are acting like fools. I think they wouldn't want someone to do that kind of stuff to them, I don't think. But some people just don't care. They're just like, I can get away with it, so I'm just gonna do it. And that's how abusive people are. They might care, or they might be impulsive and not really know how to do anything about it, and they might not like what they do, but they'll do it anyways. Or they might be working on it but still be doing it anyways, or they might just not even be aware or care to even think about what they're doing as something inappropriate and do it anyways. It kind of just depends on where that person is coming from and what stage they're in with working on stuff or not working on stuff, or even having awareness of it. So all that to say, don't go around posting your nudes all over the place if you don't want people having access to them. But if you are going to do it, there's a safe way to do it. I mean, I just found that it pretty, it's a pretty large topic to try to open up, because I follow a lot of queer media, and a lot of us queers are like out there just like posting everything all over, like, and it's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but I do know a lot of people who I follow. Almost, I don't know all of them, but a whole lot of them have OnlyFans accounts where they post stuff. A whole lot of them have other types of things that aren't maybe OnlyFans, but it's something like that, where there's all kinds of exposure, and I'm not knocking it. I mean, I think people should do what they want to do, make their money the way they're gonna make it. I appreciate it. Like, I consume the content. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying, nobody wants to do something to make a buck or pay their bills or have a creative hobby and then end up feeling harassed on the internet. Like, I don't think that's the purpose. I think people are doing what they're doing for other reasons. They're not doing it to get like harassed. But I think also people might not think about, sometimes they're like not really thinking about like what might actually happen after this fun moment or exciting moment, or after I get this paycheck. Like, how's it going to affect me next week? How's it going to affect me next month? How's it going to affect me next year? How's it going to affect me in 5 years, 10 years? Is it going to affect you negatively for your career choices, for your education choices, for your opportunities for success? Is it going to affect you for relationships, or just like your professional brand or anything? Like, is it going to have an impact negatively on you? I think that's something really to keep in mind, because it's easy to not think that way. It's easy to be like, I don't want to think about this. Like, nobody wants to think about that. Nobody wants to think about, some creepy situation or some weird ass, like, creepy ass people, like, all over the internet just doing, like, weird shit. Nobody wants to think about that, but they do exist. And, the problem with them existing is that they don't go away when times get harder. those types of people come out more. There's more scamming, more weird manipulative people out there. That people are getting more and more ill, with less and less help available for them. And then in addition to that, legally there's not really a lot of measures that people can take to protect themselves, like fully protect themselves. Like there's no way to fully take stuff off the internet completely. That's why I was mentioning the restraining order thing. It's like, that's hard enough. Imagine if you want to go through and take off everything off the internet that you ever put. Like, I think you can do that, but I think it takes money, and it takes a lot of work, and a lot of I think there's like a whole process. And so I don't really know what that process even is, but I would say it's important to learn. I mean, I want to learn more about it, but that kind of stuff is like important to know. And then the companies out there that have the power to kind of make platforms safer, I think they really need to focus on continuing to do that too, and step it up and have some better legal protections for people. And I just think that would help. But the internet's still like the wild, wild west. Like, it's just like a lot of stuff gets posted, a lot of stuff gets banned. It's not equal for all of us, guys. Like, if you're dark of skin, if you are queer of nature, your content is getting marketed and presented in a different way. You might not have as much exposure as you want to have, or you might have a fetished exposure. I don't really know. Like, you can learn about algorithms and all kinds of stuff, but everybody finds their method to kind of make a way to do what they're trying to do. Just keep it safe. People are definitely getting hurt out there without even trying to, like I mentioned, like, there are YouTubers who go out and do meet and greets, and they get harassed by people sometimes. And so, to even hear about that is like pretty shocking, that strangers will do that in public spaces, in groups of people, and still think it's okay. It's not like people are like sly behind a keyboard, behind closed doors all the time. Like, there are people out in the open that are still openly harassing people, and trying to get away with copying a feel and all this kind of seemingly little stuff that's like, okay, like, if people are gonna take it to that level, I mean, it's kind of sickening in a way, but it's like, all people can really do is protect themselves. But I don't know the specific methods that people can use, but I think ultimately when people are trying to like post nudes and stuff, it's for fun. They're enjoying the process of it. Not post nudes necessarily, but send it to somebody. I don't think that they're usually thinking about the future of how that's gonna totally look. Like, yeah, maybe usually people think about it somewhat, but I don't think people think about the full like aspect. And then to Google your name every so often, and just make sure you see what other people are seeing when you Google yourself. You don't want to get, you just don't want to have something go negative, really. I need to learn more about security measures, legal protection, but for now, that's kind of all I've got to say. But so for now, thanks for listening.